All right, well, welcome back to the podcast. I'm not going to say the whole name every time because if you're here by now, you know we have a podcast. But
you are the worst host. Why do I let you do this?
Listen, I know what I'm doing.
You have to be excited about our show.
That's not true.
What the fuck is up? And the mics are hot, the stream is live. I don't want a 9 to 5, but this YouTube shit's in a downward spiral. Hey, don't worry, we're never going viral.
Anyway, welcome back. I'm Super64. I'm joined, as always, by jGatzB, and today we have our friend Collin with us. He's been in a few videos, World of Warcraft, and I can't think of what else.
Collin's recently been reintroduced to you guys through the World of Warcraft co-op commentaries, which have been going live, and a new one came out today.
Yeah, so check that out after this, if you haven't already. We're talking about E3 and kind of how trash it was this year. I mean, I guess it's to be expected after, COVID, a COVID year, but I don't know. I just thought that might give them more time to work on at least teaser stuff, but it didn't feel like we got a whole lot of anything, so we're going to talk about that.
I think that it's kind of done something to my expectations because E3 started off as this sort of nerd Christmas thing, and I talk about this every year in the yearly podcast about it, and I've probably said this before, and I'll probably say it 9 more times, but I'm not sure if it's just me getting older and becoming jaded, or if it's the industry just delivering less. I can never really nail down whether or not it's me or it's them. But I will say that it's still entertaining every year because every year I make my wife watch it and just listen to her bitch about how fucking stupid it is. Because, I'm just disappointed. She's mad at this point because she never gets what she's hoping for. So,
as someone who's quite a bit younger, I would probably say that it also feels to me that the industry is giving less as we go on.
I think they're starting to find out how little they can deliver and still earn the same profit. Yes, mm-hmm. I think that that's a big piece of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no offense to Nintendo, but that's kind of they're starting to get into that a little bit, if you've noticed. But, yeah. It used to not be that way. You get a Zelda game and it was fucking action, big pack game of adventure, whatever. And now they're trying to get away with I will give you 4 dungeons, and then you can buy some DLC, maybe.
Here's some DLC.
It's just disgusting to watch them fall into it.
So, if we're going in order, we talked about this before we started the stream today. If we're going in order, the first major conference we're probably talking about is Ubisoft. And I always have mixed feelings about Ubisoft because, I've been disappointed by Ubisoft harder than a lot of these other companies. It's still kind of mind-blowing to me that they get their own conference. But it's always the first one, and I always make it a point to watch it. So,
I actually didn't get to watch this one, so you and him might have to take the lead on this one.
Well, let me give Collin an opportunity to jump into it. Was there anything from Ubisoft that really stood out to you this year?
In terms of new WoW, I think Riders Republic is the only thing that they have shown that it's wow, what a new idea.
Yeah, and what's funny about Riders Republic is I don't think that this was a new announcement. I think this is just a reminder that it's a thing that they're doing, because I think this got announced last year or something like that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm actually not aware of that either, unless you've seen it.
Well, maybe I had seen it in some other capacity, because part of my job right now is to keep an eye out for upcoming games, even if they're games that we have zero chance of getting. And so literally some of this stuff this year that was announced to major hype already had Steam pages, and that's been exciting to see. But that's mostly been indie shit. This looks like a fun game. I have been itching for more SSX Tricky style shit for a long time. I kind of really want to go back and play SSX Tricky. But this kind of appeals to that nature in me. I don't know that I would enjoy it though. I think you're probably more hyped for it than I am, Collin, because I have not yet considered actually picking this one up.
It's actually funny because you said you were wishing you had some more SSX stuff. You know, I got the PlayStation, the very first PlayStation when I was 4 years old. And if you didn't know,
damn.
SSX was actually the first game that I had ever played in my life.
Holy shit. Well, yeah,
On the
no
original
wonder that you're
PlayStation.
hyped for something like this.
So I've always been into the you know, Tony Hawk's and the skates that came out later, and the BMX games that used to be on PlayStation 1 demos and such. And this is actually really cool to see. I actually recently played Steep when it came out, the snowboarding game.
How was
and
Steep? I actually wanted to try it, never did.
I actually thought Steep was an amazing come into the genre from like the old style, because you started just having a linear locked box to do you know, your tricks and courses and stuff, and then Steep came and it's like, well, now you have the ability to just like explore the mountain range, and I feel like this is giving you that plus more, you know. So
Yeah,
I
it
feel
is
like
really. No, go ahead.
I feel like if people are a fan of like the extreme sports genre, or like, you know, they watch X Games every year, I think
Mhm.
this is an awesome like way to experience that without, you know, being a extreme sportist IRL.
Yeah. I think it's funny that, like, the imaginary landscape of this place just makes no sense, but it's still fun because there's whatever map it is, if it is only one map, and if not multiple maps, where, like, there's snow and, like, less snowed out grass biome in the same track. So, like, dirt bikers and snowboarders are racing each other down the mountain. I just think that's silly but fun.
That is pretty dope.
It is pretty cool. I think that's a fun element.
Yeah. So we'll see. That could wind up being something really neat.
I think even if you're not into extreme sports, I think just trying that game, you would have fun, you know, regardless. Just because of how they have it set up. That's just my opinion.
I guess to take this in the opposite direction and to be a little bit more cynical, I am not hyped for Far Cry 6. But I don't know if I have any authority to say that because I haven't played any of the past Far Cry games. I guess I've been kind of waiting for one to really push me over the edge and try to get back into it. And I don't know. I'm not terribly excited for this one, but I feel like Chase would be for multiple reasons.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I like who the bad guy is for sure.
Of course.
And then like, I didn't plan on getting Far Cry 5 when it was announced and came out and all that shit. And one day I was looking up something about it, and I was like, holy shit, you can have a pet mountain lion in this game. You can have a dog. There's a bear named Cheeseburger. Like, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get this game and just play it stealth like I did the other Far Cry games. And I had a lot of fun in that game, and it was like the one about like the fucked up South, where like crazy religious people. Like it wound up being awesome. So I could see Far Cry 6 being good, but I don't really give a fuck right now. Like, you know, I don't know.
I will say that last one seemed really interesting to me, but I kind of waited too long and essentially had the entire story of it spoiled for me. Not that really should have a huge impact. That kind of game's way more about the gameplay experience, but still.
I think Far
go
Cry,
ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Far Cry has entered a state where, like, I've seen 5 of these already.
Yeah.
You know, so while they are very fun, it's like I feel like you have to be a diehard fan to like just keep getting them over and over.
Yeah. And like, for example, something else that they showed for Far Cry was the season pass content that includes the game mode where you play as the villains.
Cool twist.
It was interesting watching Twitch chat because Twitch chat seems like this kind of Granfalloon monster that doesn't like anything, but they like the strangest things because, like, it'll just be like snoring emotes for the entirety of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but then something like that will pop up that I didn't think anybody would give a shit about, and they're all like, "Oh, dude, you could play as that guy." I'm just like, "Oh, you guys actually want to watch this?" Okay.
It's just it becomes a trolling thing at some point, you know, like they're like hitting Z's on like everything announced that they know is going to be like mainstream, like Battlefield or something, you know, it's going to sell a million copies easily, and they're all like Z, like they're just being fucking Twitch chat.
I mean, you honestly don't even know if they actually care about playing the villains. They could just be pogging off ironically and actually think it's sleeper in their own minds, you know. So.
Something I want to mention before I forget is I never did play the Mario Rabbids game the first time, even though I was told it was really good. And
of course, they're fucking hideous.
Yeah, like the Rabbids are just goddamn nightmarish. But Candy was watching the gameplay of this, and she was just like, "I would play this," and I honestly kind of. My ears perk up whenever I hear that, because there's a lot of games that I think her and I would enjoy together that she doesn't give a chance. So whenever I do hear her say that she would be willing to try something, I kind of get excited. I don't know that this has any sort of like multiplayer that I could enjoy together with her, but it's still a fucking cute ass game. And I think something that they've done based on the gameplay that I saw is it's still a tactical game, but I think it's more freedom of movement now. Like you're seeing it now on screen, where you've clearly got a range of movement that you can act within instead of like tile-based movement. And then that's like a real-time performance thing during your turn. And I think that could be really cool. But I don't have a frame of reference because I didn't play the other one. I was just told that this was basically Mario XCOM.
Yeah, that's all I've ever heard about it too. Is Mario XCOM, but I'm not big on XCOM myself, so I don't see myself playing this.
Yeah.
I think when I watched this with my friends, I think we all had the same thought of, you know, they know how to market stuff to parents that were fans of this who now have kids that want to play this related stuff, and they're like, oh, finally a game that we can give out that we also enjoyed. So I think it's a good idea, honestly.
But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Ubisoft conference. I don't really give much of a shit about the rest of it, but I also don't want to take over and say when it's time to transition. So Chase, if there's anything else you want to say about them.
No, man, you're good. I already told you I didn't watch this one or the next one, so you can just segue into it whenever you want.
Okay, cool. So like I said, I was watching this for work, so I did watch some of the conferences that I wouldn't have otherwise watched. One that we as a company, as Nexus, are particularly keeping our eyes on is Phantom Abyss. Phantom Abyss is a Devolver game. It's essentially... A lot of people are comparing it to Among Us, but it isn't really Among Us because you're not playing together at the same time. It's asynchronous multiplayer, so you are trying to get through a first-person roguelike Indiana Jones-style dungeon to the extent of even having a whip that functions as a grapple hook. And everybody has the same generated areas of the temple, but and you're like running alongside their ghosts essentially, so you're getting to see other people where they succeeded and where they failed. And when one person finally clears this iteration of the temple, it's gone for everyone. So I think it's interesting. I can understand why the company I work for thinks that it will move units. But my question to you guys is it something that you would play?
So I've also seen the controversy about the dungeon closing forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the hot topic about it. And I don't know if it's something that I would play personally, but I could see a lot of people enjoying the satisfaction of beating something before everyone else, right? So
yeah,
how your company thinks it'll move numbers, I actually agree with that as well. Especially for like the speedrunner community loves stuff like that. So
yeah, and that's something that I've talked about is that, like, you know, we were not able to get Resident Evil 8 at launch, and that was basically our company's biggest failure so far. I've even been encouraged to talk about this publicly because we're just trying to make sure that everything's out in the open. And if any person who works at Nexus knows somebody that has any suggestions, we're supposed to push them forward. So that they consider that one of the biggest failures that we had so far. But I was like, y'all don't even really fret about that, because I honestly don't believe that people are watching streamers play single player narrative games and then going, I want to buy that and play it myself, because you're already watching them getting spoilers from them. Are you gonna stop watching them and buy it and play it, or are you just gonna keep watching them play it? Like, so many of our fans will be like, yeah, I love you guys, but I'm not gonna watch you play Monster Hunter because I don't have it yet and I don't want spoilers. And that game's Monster Hunter. It's not exactly narrative spoilers, you know? So I think games like this are better for that kind of thing, because it's not really about spoilers. It's about seeing somebody else's experience and going, ooh, I can do that. I bet I could do that better. So what you said about the speedrunner experience is really what pushed that on me. I think that this will be a popular game with streamers and with streamer audiences.
And I 100% agree. And even to back you up on that, I have many friends who watch YouTube playthroughs and they watch it once and they're like, yeah, I wasn't interested, but now that I've watched it, I don't want to play it. You know?
Exactly.
So.
Well, that was me with Resident Evil 8, because once I watched Resident play it, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna get this. So like, and
I definitely think Phantom Abyss will be something that people want to, experience themselves, right?
I don't know what Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is really going to be. Have you guys seen this trailer? And if so, do you have it? Okay, so it's a spin-off title of Borderlands, and the only context for what this game is this trailer that's really meant to be like a slow tease. Now, I think probably a few people had picked up on it being a Borderlands title from the graphical style, because it's that sort of in-between cel-shaded where it's like high saturated, like detailed world, but still has the black outlines on everything. And I guess if you hadn't figured it out, this would probably be the part where you piece it together, where the guy's forging like a gun. But
do you have the context of what Tiny Tina's role is, or what that coin phrase is in Borderlands?
No, like I know. Here's my theory. I think this may have something to do with the way that they approached the D&D themed DLC in the previous games. Mm-hmm. I think this may essentially be a fantasy from Tiny Tina's perspective, but it's its own game this time instead of being a DLC. But I don't know what to expect from it. Outside of they listed off some pretty major names in terms of actors providing their voice talents. We've got Andy Samberg, Wanda Sykes. I'm a huge fan of a lot of these people, so I feel like that they're really
Andy Samberg.
Yeah, they're really pushing this being like the next big comedy thing that they're making. So
yeah, let's say it looks pretty comical or crazy, because like you have a guy forging a gun and then just for no reason a unicorn is now fighting the dragon. So
it's giving me big Yakuza vibes, because that's exactly how those games are. They're just fucking
straight random encounter,
wacky, crazy, beat the shit out of the other gang members' gang.
Yeah,
that's probably it. Actually, I mean, you have to see more, because you really don't know what it is just based off that trailer, right? We don't know what kind of gameplay it is, but
exactly.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
but yeah, before I let Chase transition into the Xbox conference, I do want to ask what your opinions of Naraka Blade Point is, because this is a game I've been pushing at work and been like, we need to be on top of this. It is a feudal Japan themed battle royale. I don't actually know if this game is going to be free to play or not, but regardless, that doesn't matter at my work, because we could still try to cut a deal to sell microtransactions. But it looks incredibly fun to me. The combat is meant to be really technical, kind of like a Black Desert style game.
So I have watched this like right up close up front in a stream as a friend's playing it. It is a very well polished would be the right way to say this. It's well polished and it functions how it is supposed to. But with these style games, I look at it from a perspective of, does somebody want to quit playing X to start playing this, considering it's a BR?
That is a good way to look at it.
Do you want to quit playing Warzone as your main BR to play Naraka? Do you want to quit playing Apex, Fortnite? Whatever you've been playing for the past couple of years. I think that's where the hard ball will be. Mm-hmm. Is it enough to make you want to play it full, more than the others? So,
well, that is a very valid way to look at it that I hadn't considered. But yeah, it's just something. It is very cool, and it is technical, and it is a challenge, right? I guess. So I mean, if you do like battle royales, then this one is a very niche and easy one to pick up, actually. So that's my opinion on it. You kind of get the hang of it very, very fast. That's awesome. Chase, do you have any interest in a game like this?
It looks pretty cool. I mean, I'd have to see a little more, but it looks pretty legit.
I think you and I, Chase, have been kind of burnt on battle royales because the last one we got super hyped for was Realm Royale, and then they changed everything.
Yeah, then they fucked everything up. Yeah, Realm Royale was legitimately fun.
That's exactly how my friends felt about Realm Royale too. That they were like, "Wow, this is so nice," and the devs just said, "Fuck you." The game isn't going to be like that anymore, and everybody quit.
Man, imagine being a developer of a popular video game, just being like, "Whoa, everybody's playing wrong."
Why do we have 60 million players and they're all playing it like this? We got to change this.
All right, Chase. I'll let you head the horse. I'll let you.
Okay, yeah. I'll drive the horse. All right, here we go. All right, so this is where E3 kind of started for me this year. I only got to really watch the Xbox, Square Enix, and Nintendo, and a little bit of the PC gaming show. So with Xbox coming in and Sony pulling out of the whole damn thing, they were just like, fuck E3. I was like, well, Microsoft's getting to where they launch everything on the Xbox and the PC at the same time, or relatively closely anyway. I was just like, well, fuck it, I'll watch this for basically my PC games, right? Like, I don't have an Xbox, and I'm not going to get one, so maybe I can get excited for this conference. Here we go.
Same here.
And first thing, Todd Howard comes out, and he's like, I'm going to show you Starfield today. I was like, fuck yeah, finally we're going to get to see some of this shit. This is going to be the next Skyrim in space. And then it was just a dude in his spaceship walking up and hitting a button that had the launch date, and then that was fucking it. Like, told you nothing about the game, and I was just like, fuck, come on, man.
I also love how unironically and lazily their box quote on this is, it's like Skyrim, but in space. Because they've been literally saying that to people. And it's fucking like, well, I mean, no shit, y'all, but is it literally like Skyrim in space? Like, is it, am I going to have an inventory filled with cheese wheels? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to advertise it that way, but I guess if you got to ride the coattails of something, of your own, like you just, staying with that fame, then Skyrim's the one to go with because it's on fucking everything.
What's even funnier is today I saw an article where they had the audacity to apologize for it being exclusive, and we were like, but what is it? Like, yeah, we're sorry this is exclusive. We know you wanted to play this. Do they? We haven't seen anything. So.
Yeah, do we? Who knows, man? This might be the next No Man's Sky, and fuck me if I'm buying that again.
Well, and, speaking of which, like, there was a period of time when I was really, like, skittish about major space games. But now I'm not, because, I've seen where the promises lead, and that nobody's really delivering on those promises yet. So, like technically we're not really there yet for like huge open world space games. So my my expectations are sincerely lowered. So I'm really only expecting Starfield to be like literally what they're fucking telling us. Like Skyrim in space.
I'm glad you think about it that way, because I'm of the same mindset where like a open world space game, I feel like they're all test runs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And this is going to be the stupidest thing I say all night, but I still have hope for Star Citizen to be good. Yeah, because like they've had so much goddamn time to work on it. Like by the time it comes out, surely it'll be good, right?
You know, at least they give the roadmap, even though it's taking so long. You know, I applaud them for that. You know, at least they show that they're doing things. So
yeah, and I've got to agree there. But yeah, like that's my thing. Is there for a while I would honestly be a little bit nervous anytime I saw a major space game release, because I'd be like, oh no, somebody's gunning for Star Citizen or No Man's Sky. And now I realize, well, no, because they're all going to have their own wildly different execution of this. Like some of them are going to be like really low rent, and some of them are going to be really high rent, but the ceiling's falling apart. So, you know,
I agree with you.
Yeah. But yeah, something else I've also seen people talk about is talking about how it's sort of that semi-realistic approach to space travel, which I can also appreciate. I like both high fantasy space travel stuff and extremely hard sci-fi realistic space travel stuff pretty equally. And you just get in the mindset for either or. No Man's Sky is way more fantastical because you don't have to keep up with like oxygen resources really, unless you're like underwater. Like yes, you do have those gauges for those things, and yes, you do have to gather like oxygen, but you use so little of it while you're playing that you really only need it for like crafting. Whereas I've played other games where like those were sincere resources. Take No Man's Sea. What the fuck is that game? Subnautica.
I legitimately thought you were talking about a knockoff that I was unaware of. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way it's named that.
But Subnautica deals with like oxygen management more realistically. So, you know, I think there is a place for realism in this. Will Starfield be the realism approach one? Maybe only aesthetically. Because
I have a question for you about you enjoying the realism of it. Are you willing to wait 24 hours IRL time to travel a week's distance in game time?
I think that you joke, but I think that there would potentially be a place for that kind of gameplay if you organize it around being almost like a gacha. So that like you pay real money for like super rare faster than light travel or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah. All right. Well,
don't put it past Microsoft.
Yeah, for real. Chase, what else is of note from the Microsoft conference?
Somebody in the chat was talking about Stalker too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Does anyone care about Stalker? I thought it looked cool, but I haven't played the first one, or I have, but I've played very little of it. I can't really remember. So, like, it looks awesome, but I don't really know what to expect.
I did play the first one, and it was very interesting, but I hit a difficulty dip of it. Not even a dip, because it was like an upward. I hit a difficulty spike of it where I kind of just put it down and played something else. But I know that it's one of those games that really encourages emergent narrative, where everybody's sharing their stories of the unique thing that happened to them while they were playing. And that's something I really appreciate, you know, because even the Fallout games have sort of lost that as time goes on. Every time I think about playing Fallout 4 again, I'm just like, yeah, but the first 4 hours of that game are the same every time. Like, you're just going to do all this fucking story shit, and by the time you're done with it, are you now going to abandon it and do what you want to do, you're already so invested in trying to find your stupid fucking kid. Like, that's why I really like the mods for Fallout 4 that just start you somewhere else. But the broken part of those mods is that the story quests are still there, so your kid's still in the game. Like, you just start somewhere else entirely. But with something like this, again, it almost comes back to the space travel thing that I said, is that there is a gritty realism to it that's very interesting. And I do enjoy games that I have called loneliness simulators, where I'm just trying to survive and trying to keep it together and adventuring. And so this sort of scratches that itch.
Yeah, I agree. I think this will be a niche success in its own field. So. Mm-hmm. It's just a modern build on what they loved before. So
yeah, maybe I'll check it out again and see what it's like. But other than that, I don't really have any more opinions on Stalker. We can move on to Back for Blood.
I'm hyped that it's happening, but do I care? I'm not sure.
I was gonna say let's talk about this sudden surgence of like Left 4 Dead clones. Like, where are they coming from? And why now?
This is from the Left 4 Dead makers, is it not?
This is the one that's from the actual devs. Now, I've talked about this a lot at work, in that, like, the actual human beings who make a game will be like barking up that tree of making another one, and the publishers will just be like, no, the industry doesn't care anymore. Meanwhile, people on the internet will be like, when's the next Left 4 Dead? But, like, you know, their hands are tied because they don't actually own the rights to the game that they made. Mm-hmm. And so they'll just branch off, make their own studio, and be like, fuck it, we're doing it anyway. We're just going to call it something else. Like, that's what happened with, that's why Bloodstained exists. That's why poor old fucking knockoff Mega Man exists. Goddamn Mighty Number 9. That was an example of it not working. But there's a lot of games like that. And now, in a weird twist of fate, the original creators of the Left 4 Dead games are making their own franchise as a continuation of that, independent from Left 4 Dead. But it's happening at the same time as a lot of game developers deciding, well, we're also all going to make Left 4 Dead clones. So there's a lot of co-op, like, run and gun shooters right now. And this will be, I guess, the first one we talk about today. Does it look good? Yeah, but at the same time, I was never really into Left 4 Dead. Like, I enjoyed playing it from time to time, but it to me feels like a very brain off shooter.
Yeah, it is. I beat Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, and I'm not really like, oh man, when's 3? Like, I don't know. I just played them because I had them. Like, I think I got them for either free or like dirt cheap during Steam summer sales and stuff.
Yeah.
Considering that I played Left 4 Dead within the past month, I think this is nice, right? But it's also a situation where, just you were saying, there's a dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
Essentially. And so, in my opinion, it's like, well, who does it best?
Yes.
So even with it being the previous actual makers, is it going to beat its competition? I don't know. But does it look like it would be fun to play with your friends? Absolutely. And that's like how I feel about the zombie shooters at this point.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to talking about more of these comparable titles. But in the meantime, Chase, if you don't have anything to say about Contraband, I want to at least touch on this weirdly timed Pirates of the Caribbean crossover.
Yeah,
I'd like to discuss this too.
Yeah, I would too, because it just, like, this came out on screen, and I was like, man, this is like 10 years too late. So, like, what the fuck are they doing?
Honestly, though, I don't
exactly how I felt as well.
I still don't disagree with the choice. Like, yes, it's really late. It's weirdly timed. I haven't watched a Pirates of the Caribbean movie since the third one, but as soon as I saw them walking down that corridor of jail cells, I was like, man, wouldn't it be dope if it was Jack Sparrow in that jail cell? And then he popped up, and it's almost like I was standing beside myself, astral projecting and going, well, 𝐏𝐿𝐿, is it dope? Is it as dope as you thought it would be? Because like I am actually excited for this, but I don't really play this game. Artemis really enjoys it. Real English Rage really enjoys it, and whenever they catch me with free time, they always invite me to play with them, and I enjoy. But at the same time, I am not really motivated to play this on my own, because the game feels empty to me. The game doesn't really feel engaging to me, and I think that they went, well, what if we just took the story of Pirates of the Caribbean and moved it over here?
Well, you got to remember though, Sea of Thieves is like a create your own adventure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now with this they're giving them direction, right?
Yeah.
So
and I don't mind it. I don't mind if this game just becomes the Pirates of the Caribbean game. I don't really even care that that's what's happening, but it's so weird that that's what's happening. Like it's as if Need for Speed Underground had a crossover with Fast and Furious and then just said, fuck it, that's who we are now. Like that would be really weird.
To me, it also kind of felt like you said, this is like No Man's Sea. Well, no, you weren't.
This has been called No Man's Sea, though.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking of when you said No Man's Sea. That's what I meant to say. But like you said, there's not a lot of content in this game, and when I seen this, I was like, okay, so they're trying to slap like Disney's name on a literal sinking ship to try and save it. So
that could be the case as well.
It could be cool though. I'm gonna try to give it a shot. Another game that I'm gonna try to give a shot that looks a hell of a lot better, but I've just had more negative experiences with, is the Battlefield franchise. Chase, I want you to lead the conversation here, even though you don't have as much experience, because I feel like your perspective matters for anybody considering jumping into a game like this.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Okay, so anytime I've been asked to get a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game, I've been hesitant to be like, okay, sure, I'll play. And then I get it, and everybody bitches it wasn't like the last one, and then they quit in like 2 weeks. And then I'm stuck with a multiplayer game that only I play, and I'm just like, fuck. So I don't want to get in that situation again with this game, and it wind up being some other 2-week game, people be like, this ain't like Battlefield 1 or whatever.
And I can completely respect that, because I can't promise that won't happen. But at the same time, shit looks good.
It does look really good. I am not gonna lie.
It's a hard catch because there's so many of them that fail, and then there's like every third year there's going to be one that's like everybody kept playing, so it's kind of like you're playing 50-50 on buying it or not, right?
Yeah.
But to be honest, this one looks like they actually put in the effort to make it the just multiplayer experience, and they even said we're cutting campaign out, and we're cutting, what is the other thing they cut out? They're cutting out the battle royale, and they're just giving the players, what they enjoy playing and what the majority of the player base plays the most. So I don't see this one being I don't see this Battlefield being one where players get it and they're like, I'm done after 2 weeks, or like I'm done after the first month. I feel like if the progression that they allow you to have, like the new Halo progression, right? The Battle Pass.
Yeah.
I feel like if the progression in this one gives people the old nostalgic sense of achievement, where as long as they keep playing, they keep building on what they have, and they don't add a bunch of extra bullshit to distract you, I feel like this would probably be a good purchase, and it does look fucking awesome, to be honest.
I've seen a lot of people. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Chase.
Oh, I've seen a lot of people bring up the whole Halo thing. They're just like, okay, so since they cut campaign out of this, they just want to sell us multiplayer for $70 or $60, whatever.
Yeah, now 70 is expensive. I agree with you.
And because they're also going to have battle passes and shit that you can buy.
Yeah.
So like, why isn't it free like Halo is? Like, I think this game's gonna have a hard time, but
Yeah.
that's
It
just me.
depends. That is a good point. Maybe if they're gonna do multiplayer only forward, they should do 30 flat, right, for the game, and then have the expectation that people continuously buy battle passes, and that will suffice, right?
Yeah, that's what I would think they should do, but who knows? We'll see.
In a weird non-consumer perspective, like anytime I have to rationalize whether or not I'm spending my money on a multiplayer game, I have to also consider whether or not it's streamable, because we already have to manage our weekends very carefully. And so if we're playing something together as a family, we're more than likely streaming it. And vice versa. If we're streaming something, we're more than likely trying to get as much people in it as possible so that we can spend some time together. And I could see this game kind of filling that niche, that weird like improv comedy niche of being able to turn it into a half-ass narrative if we stay in squads. Like, I wouldn't ask anybody to role play. I would probably just be role playing on you and just seeing where it goes, because that's how we got started with a lot of it. So
I don't know if you know or if you watched all of this, Jesse, but they said that even though it is multiplayer only, did you not see that they are going to add 2 special situations where co-op becomes extremely important?
No, that's really
Did you see that? Okay, so they said that they were adding special modes where essentially in this game you can make the enemy team all 128, right? So like, let's say if you have 4 friends, you could make the remaining like 118 or whatever, or 120 something other players AI only, and then you and your 4 friends are now essentially co-oping against all of the AI, and it becomes like a super intense, tight-knit co-op game mode.
That could be really fucking cool.
And they said they're adding 2 special game modes where cooperation with your squad will pay off, right? So if you're looking for that kind of story-driven, your squad is like
would
the
work
God
for
Squad, then yes, I think that is what they're going to be adding to this Battlefield.
Yeah. Before we move on from that, Gino in chat also mentions it's 128 players, which
only on
Battlefield.
PC.
Battlefield has been lacking a lot of the player count that it once had. And this is something Chase and I talked about how, like, because people have prioritized graphics, and we didn't quite have the processing power to keep upping graphics and keeping the previous mechanics, we've started losing some really practical shit that we've enjoyed from some of our favorite games in order to have photorealistic graphics. So it's really exciting to see Battlefield get back to these big team battles that they once had.
Well, remember, it's only 128 on PC. Consoles still stuck on 64 because of the problem you just talked about.
Exactly. Yes. I am actually going to give Fallout 76 a chance. I just haven't sat down and played more of it, because the other day I logged in for the first time and I was met by a guy just standing outside of the vault that, like, the game apparently has really good built-in voice chat, and he was just like, "Hi, how are you doing? Is this your first time playing? Cool. Well, here's some free stuff." And I was just like, "Do you like work for the devs or something?" And he was like, "No, I just love this game." And it was just so cool that I was like, "All right, man, you got me, sold me. I'm coming back." And then I haven't seen him in a month because I haven't come back. But I do really want to give this another chance. They've taken the battle royale out. They're still trying to add more shit. And I do have a history of trying to watch these games that were launched horribly and have been
this is
updated,
the one with the Nightmare launch, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, this was at least as bad as No Man's Sky, if not worse, upon launch, because it was just a buggy shithole mess. And like, there are great video essays on this about how not only did they just use the same engine from Fallout 3 and 4, they have still continued not to fix these known bugs that have existed in those games. So, like, there was at one point there was such a tremendous issue with this that, like, people were just going into each other's inventories and taking shit and all kinds of whack ass stuff.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Shakur's Ender in chat mentions No Man's Sky was more boring than buggy. Fallout 76 was bugged to shit. I think that's a fair appraisal. Because No Man's Sky just under-delivered on features at first. And now it has become more buggy, in my opinion.
How I understand it, it was as bad or if not worse than Cyberpunk's launch, right? Where it's
yes.
borderline unplayable, right?
Yes.
Party Animals is what I want, but I'm starting to think the game doesn't exist, considering it was announced over 2 years ago, and I've been in the Discord server for that long, and they have said nothing at all, and then just show it on E3 with no information.
I think this must be a weird, like, we have to release within a certain window for maximum profits situation, because, like you said, like they're clearly, what are they working on? Like,
what's
done.
left to add? That's what I'm saying. I've been in here 2 years. They've said nothing. I'm like, really? What could you be adding for the past 2 years?
Yeah, this has been
literally
strange.
just gang beasts, but you're furries.
This has been strange for me because, when we started growing a little bit more, it was after Gang Beast's popularity. So people would be like, you should play Gang Beast. And I'd be like, don't get me wrong, that sounds fun, but are people going to watch? Like, are more than like 4 people going to watch because it's so oversaturated? And so whenever we started to see this, which is essentially new Gang Beasts with corgis, I was like, yes, this is a bro-op game. And it's just still not out.
No, this honestly looks like it would be hilarious to watch. I think this is going to do really well on Twitch for quite a while when it comes out.
Yeah.
For anyone that plays it, both the player and the watcher. But will it come out? Who knows?
But will it come out? Chase, why don't you lead discussion on Halo Infinite?
Let's say, I guess we can just jump into the big one. Halo Infinite, they finally showed again since their last shit show of a showing where people lost their fucking minds about how bad it looked. And now I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see the problem here anymore. Like it looked fine from what they showed last time. Maybe it was just that world, because people were acting like it was like a Minecraft world. I don't know if you remember. It had those weird like hexagonal tubes everywhere or whatever.
Well, okay, so from the trailer that had everybody upset was the one where they were like, yo, we even told you this isn't the final product. Like, yes, some of the graphics are going to be washed out and unfinished, but people were still like, lol, this looks like an Xbox game. And it's just like, yeah, we told you. It's not fucking done. We're just trying to show you what like gameplay in the campaign looks like, and they're still just like, this looks like an N64 game. I just never bought into all that hate personally. Like, and there's still a little bit of cynicism about this multiplayer, which I can understand and respect, because Halo did move into a direction with its multiplayer that I didn't enjoy as much. It seemed to me like, while these multiplayer games like Titanfall were getting really popular with all of their like aerial mobility moves, every other shooter decided they had to copy that. And then like Call of Duty had like jump jets, and then Halo had jump jets. And so when some people are like, I'm not really sure if I'm sold on the grappling hook, I'm sitting here going, let's go. It's not jump jets. So like, I'm just excited to see them try to go, what's a way that we can iterate on the Halo formula, but still keep it feeling like classic Halo. And I feel like what I'm looking at, I'm confident that it might be doing that. And plus, the grapple hook is a piece of equipment. Like it's bringing it back to the way equipment used to work, where you only get to have like one thing. So if you have a grappling hook, then you don't have the segmented shield or something like that. And something else that I feel like, let's mention this. Is going to do that.
Yeah, he is.
But something else I absolutely want to mention on that is power-ups like overshield and invisibility are now items that you can choose when to activate. Like when you pick it up, you pick it up.
I love that. I legitimately love that.
Yeah,
it's a good modern feature.
And if somebody kills you, they can take it. And I think that's a tremendous upgrade, because I've talked about this before about how there are still some elements to video games that have just lingered since classic gaming that don't make a lot of sense anymore. So like in a game where you're playing multiplayer as a Spartan and all of the tech makes sense within the lore of the universe, why am I still able to find a holographic pyramid that turns me invisible? You know? So like I think that turning it that also appeals to me, who I'm just sitting here going, this doesn't make sense. But yeah, I'm incredibly hyped for it. I don't want to word vomit the entire time, so I'll just be like, hey, oh my god.
Is that it?
Sorry, I accidentally knocked my Switch off the table. It's fine. I just
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah, let's just not edit that out. Let's just leave that in.
You know, I'm surprised by this Halo, honestly. You guys know, you two know me. This one looks playable.
Oh hell yeah.
I haven't had the excitement since Halo 5 with the special game mode, and now that they're just like throwing, it looks like they're throwing everything into one. It's like, wow, you actually get to play what you enjoy playing, and it has modern rigging, right? So the animations look good. The new movement looks good. It's not jump pack like you said, just not seeing the same old thing and dog shit movement. So you know, I'm kind of excited about this one.
Something else that I think is worth talking about is the fact that the multiplayer will be free to play, and the campaign is the part you have to pay for.
Yeah, which is so weird because I think they're gonna have a hard time selling it because the day it comes out, it's on Game Pass. You could just sub to Game Pass, beat that game in like 4 hours, and not have to buy it, and then just
but
play multiplayer
for free.
They're still making their money off of Game Pass, man. Like that's a business model that they founded has worked, and I really think the reason Game Pass works is because of gamers like you, Chase, who there is nothing stopping you from waiting as long as it takes for a game to drop to the price you want to buy it at. Mm-hmm. So you just don't give a shit. You're just like, I can wait. I'm not paying more than X amount for this game, and I can wait. And because there are so many people like that, I think Microsoft did the math and went, okay, well, what is that amount? How much money do they typically spend on games in a month? Let's just charge them for that and just give them all of them. Like, because we're not making money off of people like Chase anyway. So we're just going to like make a subscription service for him.
Just give them all of them. Yeah. I mean, you're definitely right. Most stuff I can either wait on, or I'm either backlogged enough and I'm just like, okay, by the time I get through this and that might have a price drop. And if it doesn't, I'll buy it anyway. But there are some games that come out that I'm just like, okay, I've got to have that today. So like, you know, some stuff I can't wait on, like Elden Ring. No, fuck that. I'll have that today it comes out.
Same. Before you go, you know, I wanted to say there's something new that these Halo devs have decided that I think is genius regarding the battle passes. And this comes from like I have a long log on Apex all the time, and when you look at what they're doing with multiplayer, and it's like you can now go back and buy a battle pass that you've missed. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
That allows you to negate exclusivity. And I don't know if you know that exclusivity makes a lot of money, but it would make even more money if people that weren't interested in the game at the time could go back and get it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
so I think it's going to make a lot of money when somebody picks it up 3 months in and they've missed like 4 passes and they're like, wow, I really want that from season 2, and they go back and buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's genius, and I wish Apex Legends would do that. Honestly, that's such a smart move by them.
Well, I think there are a lot of games. Previously, it was only MMOs, but now it's like games as a service games where like the more time passes from launch, the farther your people who are on the fence get from that purchase because of what you're talking about, feeling like that they've missed too much. So you have to have an easy way for those people to jump back in. And it's almost like on the flip side, games like Final Fantasy 14 have the opposite offering, where like if you sit out too long, that game gates the progress behind the story, so it's trying to sell you story progression skips, and some people buy them. But I think on the opposite end of that, you could offer things like this, where you're just like, no, like, we want you to always feel like you can jump back in, catch up to what you missed, and hit the ground running. And so I think that's really cool. I think it is cool that, like if you see somebody else with something, you can be like, oh yeah, I'll just go back and get that.
I think it's great, honestly, because just another comparison to Apex, you know, their biggest season is season 10, right? Or no, I'm sorry, season 9. That's a long time from launch, you know. So when you look at it for Halo's perspective, it's like, well, man, if you have your greatest season 6 seasons in, and you get a whole bunch of new players, allowing them to go back and get the previous content that they see that they really like is like perfect for them, right? That encourages them to keep spending money and playing it. So I think it's awesome. Yeah, I think they're spot on with this.
All right, Chase, what's the next game we're going to talk about?
I don't know that anyone's excited for this other than me, but Diablo 2 Resurrected, I was shown at the Xbox conference for whatever reason and not the PC conference. I don't know. That's just weird, but I guess they paid them for it. Who knows?
I thought it looked awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome. Like I'm so excited for this, and it comes out so soon. Like we haven't heard anything until this trailer, and they're just like, by the way, it comes out in like 2 months.
Did you see how many people can co-op with you in this?
Yeah, what was it, 8?
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't realize that. That's a really interesting update to add to this game.
I love co-op dungeon crawlers, and I think even somebody in your Twitch chat today was like they realize people want co-op, and like that's absolutely true. I mean, if you look at what's that game that just sold millions and millions with the male and female that have like a broken relationship and they fix it? It Takes Two. Yeah, people love co-op games. So the fact that they have something that's old that people liked and then they bring it back where you can now play with 8 friends, it's like such. Why did it take us to 2021 to get to this era?
Same. I agreed. Well, that's essentially what started this whole fucking channel is me and Chase both agreeing, hey, you know what's even better than playing a single player game and enjoying it? Playing that game together. Like, and there weren't a whole lot of offerings for that. And so yeah, it is good to see that.
Plus, it's got the shiny new polish and graphics on it. I mean, I think it's going to do well. I think that's good. That's something I want to buy, personally.
Yeah, as long as they don't fuck up like Warcraft Reforged, then we'll be A-okay. But I think this one should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's all we can really talk about on Diablo.
I want to play Slime Rancher 2.
Hey,
now, wait,
were you the one that's excited for Plague Tale?
Yes, Plague Tale, just from the trailer. It doesn't show any gameplay, but I can tell that this is like I can tell it's going to be like a Fable-esque kind of game from the trailer, and I think it will probably be really good. I like stuff that has like a dark story to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure what to expect out of this. I only caught this trailer in passing, and I didn't really understand what it was trying to get across, but it does look intriguing.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on it. But like you already said, we don't really know what it's about yet. So
yeah, we don't really know, but just the theme of it has me intrigued to keep watching it. Now, if it turns out to be, I don't know, some top-down asymmetric,
something weird... we already have plenty of. So like,
to me, it looks like if this becomes like an open-world action adventure game, that's probably going to be a buy, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Slime Rancher 2.
I don't really want to spend a lot of time talking about this. I do want to play it because Candy played Slime Rancher 1, and this just looks like a fun iteration of that.
Yeah, I played Slime Rancher 1. I really enjoyed it for like, a little while. But after a while, it's kind of like Stardew Valley or something. It becomes stale. You're just doing the same shit over and over.
What is the genre of this considered? Like what is
Slime Rancher is essentially like a shit, I don't even know. it's like a
breeder game because you breed all these slimes together and make new slimes, and they're all cute and adorable. Like, say you put them in pens like that, and then put two different kinds in a pen, they'll mate and make something different. And then I don't know. It was fun, but
My
in
friend
a
Jen
weird
said that
way,
Slime
it's like
Rancher.
No, go
I was
ahead.
saying that my friend had said that Slime Rancher 1 was like the funnest of that genre that he has played yet.
yeah, it was legit. I just got tired of it.
It's weirdly kind of like a first-person factory game, even though it isn't, because there are other first-person factory games that play completely differently. So it's like it got that element of it where you're almost like farming, but like you said, it's more about the breeding. So when you said what genre is this game, I had a meltdown because I was like, I don't even really know what to say.
I don't really care about anything else in the Microsoft conference, so if you guys do, go ahead.
I had seen people say that Forza Horizon 5 was like the most exciting thing from Microsoft's conference. And I have said this more years in a row than I care to admit, but I do want to jump back in on a racing game and just haven't fucking done it yet.
It looks beautiful.
The graphics, yeah, are crazy. I agree.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know. I am less and less impressed by good graphics in racing games, and that's not their fault. It's just like it's become the norm to have photorealistic graphics in a Forza racing game. So I think it would really have to do something else to excite me. Now, that said, it did, because if I'm not mistaken, this was the game that had like the weird game mode editor thing at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's in either of these trailers, unfortunately. But there was one where they were like driving through and like bowling giant bowling pins at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like GTA mini games, kind of.
yeah. So there's a lot of fun to be had there theoretically.
I'm surprised neither of you were interested in Outer Worlds. That seems like something Jesse would like at least.
Oh, I've never played the first one.
I have not played them either. I just thought you two might enjoy that.
I played a little bit of it. It's just a try hard Fallout clone with some Rick and Morty.
Yeah. A game that I want to actually spend time expressing how little I care about it is Redfall.
Vampire game?
Yeah, this is the first of the unnecessary Left 4 Dead clones I really want to talk about today, because it's like if you watch this trailer, the aesthetic is all over the place. Like, it's like, okay, so we've got some survivors. Oh, there's a robot. Okay, it's a really interesting like sci-fi robot. We've got some scorched stuff, a guy with stickers all over his phone, and it's like, so what are we aiming for here? Because there's so broad of a spectrum of like tech versus fantastical elements. I don't really know where my expectations are supposed to land. And then all of a sudden we're just getting more and more thrown at us. Whenever I was watching this, I was like, this doesn't even look like a real video game. It looks like the kind of fake video game you would put in a movie about people who play video games.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a Love, Death, and Robot scene.
Yeah.
It looks like a fucking... Wait, what did you say?
It reminds me of a Love, Death, and Robot scene.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just a Love, Death, and Robots episode. It's so odd.
But Jesse's right, because, you know, you have sci-fi futuristic stuff, and then vampires are gothic. So it's like got a bunch of a clash here going on.
I just feel like games like Fortnite and Overwatch already kind of have a monopoly on high saturation, colorful, like
you're right. Mm-hmm.
So like if your game is just a quirky band of very diverse characters versus X, I don't fucking care what X is. Because we've already not hit the brief, right?
Yeah. So this kind of game would be like, for you to be interested in it, or anyone really, honestly, because I'm sure other people feel like this. I mean, this one is like totally gameplay dependent, right? So
yeah, gameplay dependent,
if it's even doing anything new.
Yeah, like and to their credit, I don't know that I'm really interested in co-op run and guns at all right now. If you were to have a more traditional Vampire Hunter co-op run and gun that doesn't have this seemingly unnecessarily cast of characters, I can't guarantee I would be any more into it. But yeah, I just don't know where to land on this game. I really don't. Like, for example, trust me, I like this like high fashion shit going on in character design. It feels very much like a Western interpretation of like a Ghost Hunter anime. Like, but at the same time, not dissing. Yeah, look at her and look at her. Like, they're not even on the same like design wavelength at all. Like, one looks straight out of Diablo 4 and one looks straight out of Fortnite, and I just don't know where my eyes are supposed to land on that. Like, I don't understand.
I see where you're coming from.
So yeah, I don't know that I even necessarily have the words. I really just wanted to analyze that and see if I'm just a grumpy old man or not.
I think that one would truly be on a play by ear. I mean, I doubt it's doing anything new in game, right? So
yeah,
it's just kind of like meh.
All right, well, I guess we'll move on to the conference I was the most excited for and probably the most let down by in years. It was so fucking bad. I'm just gonna widespread tell you what I thought about the whole thing at once real quick, and then we can break down individuals if we really just feel like it. Guardians of the Galaxy, cool. It looks okay, I guess, whatever. The Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, that's cool, but it's going to piss a lot of people off because the Steam versions already look like shit, and these aren't like a free upgrade. Like, you have to buy them all again, and I don't think back together 1 through 6. So, whatever. Legend of Mana looks pretty cool. Don't give a fuck about Avengers. That any of their mobile shit, which went all the way over to Babylon's Fall here, that game looks awful. Like, I don't know if you looked at the fucking graphics in the back, like the textures and stuff. Man, it looks like a PS2 game. Like, I don't know what art direction they're going with, but it's rough. And then they showed like fucking 30 minutes of Life is Strange. Like, anyone gives a fuck about that. And then crazy enough, they're just this fucking Team Ninja Neo style Final Fantasy game is real, and it looks like the edgiest edgelord shit I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Twitch fucking loves this.
Don't get me wrong, I'm hyped to play it. I really am. It looks fun, and the demo's out. I need to go play it, but man, is it weird.
I think that we have given Japan and Square Enix in general a pass for bad writing for too goddamn long. Like, specifically dialogue writing. Because
I thought the lines were so funny and cheesy. Their chaos stuff is hilarious. And what he says when he grabs stuff and kills it, just... I feel like they do it on purpose now, honestly.
And if that's the case, okay, I'll buy that. I think that tone is important here. And so if the tone is meant to be tongue in cheek, this is basically like a B action movie, then okay, yeah, sure. But
I feel like that's what they're doing at this point, because you can't just grab a skull and be like, just say the most edgelord words ever, like every other line when you kill something.
He's got to kill chaos. And then, like, he gets in that room, he's like, ugh, darkness so thick I can taste it. It's like, okay, guy, who wrote your fucking line?
You know what I think is not selling me on it? I actually don't think I have a problem with his character or his dialogue then, now that we've agreed it's tongue-in-cheek. But why is he just a blonde in pajamas?
Yeah, why is he just wearing a plain-ass t-shirt and these other guys are just, like, souped up? I was also a bit thrown for the loop on that one.
I can actually answer that somewhat. So this game plays more like Neo than you probably even realize. You pick up different weapons, and that changes your classes. Like, he's not just stuck with that sword the whole time.
Oh, okay.
The demo is actually quite cool, and they didn't show any of this cool shit in this conference for whatever reason. But you can swap classes like on the fly, like during mid combo and stuff, and like that's really fucking cool to me. And also, like I said, it plays just like Neo, so it constantly is like loot drops. It's like Diablo, so his armor changes all the fucking time, and that's like his base, like start the game with shit is, and then you replace it almost immediately.
That makes sense. All right. Okay.
It's still I think it's gonna be fun to play, but the dialogue is just, it's gotta be intentional. There's no way that his lines are literally "fuck you, recreant, I'm after chaos," and just deals the finishing blow. I don't know. That just weirds me out. This far into like modern pop culture, it's like, really, are we doing this?
He sounds like a character straight out of like the early 2000s.
Yes, he does. It's weird.
Something I want to touch on before we move on to the next page of this stuff is speaking of like them spending so much time on Life is Strange and being like, who actually cares about these games? I was watching with Laz and with Laz's little sister, who I think is actually in the age range of who the fuck these games are targeted towards. So I just leaned over and asked her, I was just like, why the fuck, like, do people care about Life is Strange? And she was like, yes. And I was like, why? And she was like, lesbians. And I was like, okay, anything else? And she was like, no.
That's so dumb.
You know, I'll be honest with you. As much as I don't care about them, you can tell that that guy, the dev that had the really long, like 30-minute Zoom call, he cares a lot. So I hope it's serving justice to its fan base.
I think that there have been multiple times in the past where we've tried to play games that were just clearly not for us, and I think this is just a situation of that. Like, you know, I saw people be in interviews talking about Gone Home and how they thought the same thing I did. They thought it was a horror game until over the course of the game you realize it's not a horror game. It's about somebody's like realization of their own sexual identity. But when they were describing it, they talked about how much they loved that. And I was just like, well, either you're a psychopath or I am, because when I start a horror game, I want it to stay a horror game. Like I thought that I was going to find this girl dead, strung up somewhere in the house. Like I was really gearing up for this like terrifying dread that it was building. And then no, it's just, you're finding out your little sister found out that she's gay, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, like, sure, but like, this is why building expectations is important. You set the kind of tone that made me hate your game, like, even though it's clearly socially important.
This is a high fantasy horror, but it turns out that the end game is you find out that you have body dysmorphia and you identify as a golem. And honestly, that just made me love the game. Honestly, I'm a fan of the series now.
All right. Well, if y'all don't care about anything else in that Square Enix that I just sort of shotgun, you know, my opinions on there, then we can move on.
All right.
I just wanted to know why so much effort put into the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Dude, same. Like, it's clearly
because it looks good and clean. It looks above AAA. But why is the question? Why this late too?
I'm just sitting here going, this must have been a consequence of COVID, because, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was supposed to like I think a lot of shit got moved around because, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was supposed to be out before Thor 4. And now they're having to do a lot of reshoots to where a lot of the content of Thor 4 is essentially Guardians of the Galaxy 3, just because all of the Marvel movies are in chronological order typically. So I think that they were trying to have a tie-in around the release of the Guardians 3 movie, and because there's no Guardians 3 movie like anytime soon, we're all just kind of like,
have this random,
why now? Yeah. Because it looks like an incredibly high production value adaptation of a title that I am not currently interested in.
It's like, this is so well done, but who is it for? Was like my whole thing about it. I was like, I don't know. Also, Shakira is asking if Resident Evil 8 DLC was shown at E3. I don't think so.
They announced they were working on it, but
but they didn't show any. Okay,
yeah, and I think that we do have a dedicated Capcom conference later in this list.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't really care about much in the PC gaming show. I thought it was pretty bad.
Oh, it was super cringe.
There was only a few like hit and miss things, basically.
I do want to take this time to talk about how much I've enjoyed Chivalry 2. I tried to get us multiple review copies and got one through Keymailer, but never got a response on Terminals. And Terminals was where I was actually able to request multiple copies.
I would love to play that with multiple bro-up members.
Chivalry 1 was one of our favorite multiplayer just for fucking fun games, and it was one of the best received community nights we've ever had.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think what's great about it, having played it, is they clearly looked at people's experiences with the first one, realized that the tone is really comedic, and leaned into that, because now your characters say shit that's funny. I hit the button to do I hit the button to do my battle cry, and the first time I did it, my guy just goes, "For that guy we like."
Yeah, I do believe people were enjoying that. I believe there's quite a few Twitch clips on live stream fails where they're shouting nonsense before they die. I think that is a pretty cool addition.
A couple of things that I did when I played it that I thought was fucking hilarious was I don't know if you could do this in the first one, but you can throw any weapon. Like if you're having a hard time closing distance, you can just fucking spear your bastard sword at somebody.
That is fucking awesome.
And then you have to go get it. Something else that you can do is if you cut somebody's head off, their head becomes an object you can pick up and throw.
Wow. It looks like a very good, like just legitimately good for fun game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the very first map that I played was the siege of a castle, and we had to push those big ass fucking like siege tower things that you use to climb over somebody's walls, and like it was kind of like whenever you're pushing the cart in Team Fortress, like we had to stay on it and defend it and shit like that. In that battle in particular, there were shovels on the battlefield that you could pick up and use as weapons, and I think they were fucking terrible. They're just there for laughs. Just probably more funny shit than I can even really spend time talking about right now, but I wanted to say it while I was thinking about it.
All right. Any other PC game that really...
I will do what you did for the last one and kind of shotgun some shit. Raw Men has been in development for a long time. We requested a gameplay key of this years ago and never got it, and we're finally starting to see it appear in E3s and shit. Raw Men is essentially like an independent clone of Splatoon. Like every character is like a soup chef and you're like slinging soup, like only there's clearly a lot more depth of gameplay than that. So it's evolved somewhat since the first time I saw it. Let's see. I'm not going to touch on Dying Light 2. Come out or don't. I'm over it. Gigabash seems like something Chase would like. It's a fighting game of kaiju.
Oh yeah, I did see this. I just forgot his name. Yeah, this did look pretty cool.
Yeah, might be something to watch. Unfortunately, like you're looking at the gameplay, it's like, all right, that looked so beautiful, and now from the top down, it looks like a phone game. But whatevs, guys.
It reminds me of some of those earlier Godzilla games. Right?
Yeah, I remember.
Big old monster brawl.
Mm-hmm. Apparently people are excited for War Tales, but I didn't get a chance to really see that, so I don't
even see this at PC Game Show. Did they even show this?
I think that they did. I think that this may be a.
Oh, this is like that War Banner Conquest type game.
Yeah, people are pretty hyped for this. We've been keeping an eye on it at work because some of our highest selling games through Nexus have been like real-time strategies and like 4X games and stuff like that. So
yeah, I don't think these are bad.
Yeah, so it could be interesting. Solstice, I definitely want to touch on. Chase, did you have
this looked cool to me?
Yeah, I did see this. It does look cool.
Yeah, again, I've become a grumpy old fart, and so a lot of times when I see a game that honestly is exactly what I asked for, I'll still find reasons to not be interested, and I'll be like, well, it looks too samey. And so they went, oh, you're looking for new Souls-likes? And I'm like, yeah, but it'll be fucking cliche as shit. And they'd be like, no, it's kind of anime, but kind of not. You have a ghost sidekick, you're a leggy woman. I was like, okay, we're almost there, tell me more. So I think
Devil May Cry to me.
It does.
Yeah,
Devil May Cry and a little bit of Nier together.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of Bloodborne thrown in there.
I am somewhat excited for what Shakuris is calling anime girl berserk.
Michaela was actually hyped for that game, and she didn't care about most stuff, so I guess it got some people's attention.
Tinykin looks cute. There have been people in the past couple of years that are really taking a dip at the Pikmin style gameplay, and Tinykin takes it a step further and makes it look like more or less a collectathon because you have a big open world environment to explore and platform around while also collecting these little Pikmin-y dudes and doing stuff with them. So that could really neat. I'm also a fan of the art style. It's clearly like, a low poly, like giant environment, but then your characters are like cutesy little cartoon 2Ds, and I think that's working for me. So
yeah, I thought the art direction for this was very, very nice, actually. Mm-hmm. Very cool style.
Yeah, and I went and showed this to Laz because, again, she's really craving more games like Pikmin, and she was pretty blown away by this. So I'm interested in that.
Death Trash, I want.
Death Trash, let's take a look at that because I actually have still not even watched this trailer. So I don't know what to expect from this game. If you want to give us some information.
So Death Trash is a like wastelandish roguelike. Where you can choose between being multiple classes, and then the stories. Yeah, he just puked and then ate it, I think. You interact with the world around you, and then it depicts how your story turns out. And there's like multiple endings that can be had, but it's very large. Like I don't know if you can really understand the scale of it from this trailer, but the way they described it is like it's got many hours and many of collections to be done and scenarios to play through, and I thought this is just one of like the cooler things I've seen throughout all of E3. So yeah. I am definitely excited.
Really dope. That is really cool.
And I'm not really even into these kind of it's not 2D. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm usually not into this
particular
perspective or style, but just what the game has to offer is like, wow, you're offering so much. Now I want to go through this story because you've like put so much work into it. So
yeah. All right, Death Trash looks interesting, especially now that you've sold me on it a little bit more. We've seen a lot more games lately that are clearly trying to be spiritual successors to classic first-person shooters. Project Wardlock and Gloomwood are both examples of that. Some of these games are actually developed by like huge people in the industry. Neither of these are the one I'm thinking of, but Gloomwood bears a lot of resemblance to a game that I reached out about a while back that is from 3DO. But clearly kind of trying to capture the feel. Speaking of which, Chase, what was the name of that like first person Doom-like Souls-like game that you played a while back that you were like, oh my god, this was great?
Medieval.
Medieval's getting DLC.
Yeah, well, these games are made by them, aren't they? One of them is.
Well, let's take a look. Okay, these were still in the PC gaming show, but New Blood Interactive, they had their own whole showing. So yeah, maybe New Blood Interactive. I'm not seeing that in there, but it may be from them.
It is from them, I believe. They had a segment where the lead dev was talking, right?
Well, a lot of this stuff was from the I believe it was the...
This is Tuesday's showcase, right? This is the indie stuff, right?
Yeah, and some of this was actually really worth taking a look at. For example, Neko Ghost Jump at first glance looks really fucking stupid. Like, it looks kind of like an asset flip, like just something they pushed out in Unity real quick. But chat was losing their minds over it, and it looks like it honestly might be fun. This is a game I may have already talked about. That's essentially like a forward-moving Sonic-style platformer, but has Fez mechanics because you can like turn the camera to see like other shit.
And, shit, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you're looking at it and you don't know that, you're just like, great, more garden paws. But
this is not garden paws, okay? What was that comparison?
But yeah, it looks really neat, and like the transition between the side scrolling and the 3D platforming is like really fluid. I just wish the side scrolling platforming looked better, because the side scrolling platforming looks like Babby's first game development. Like,
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
it looks pretty cool.
I honestly think it looks really neat.
Right, is Minutes of Islands? A lot of people are excited for that. Is that on here?
I think it might have been on the previous page. Minute of Islands was cool, Shakura says. Let me go ahead and jump back
people are
real
excited
quick.
for that.
Minute of Islands is more like a 2D adventure game.
Adventure time-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that theme.
Because it's clearly like a pastel, cartoony art style, but set in a post-apocalypse. So,
man, there's a game that's kind of like Skull Knight, but it has this style, and there's a female lead protagonist. I just can't think of what it is, but I actually loved that game. And I wish I knew what it was, but I think games like this are not bad.
Yeah, this could be really cool.
All right, well, you want to move on to Nintendo now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Wait, did Capcom have it? No, Capcom didn't have anything.
Yeah, I won't hold us up. Because I know that we all need to probably bring this to a close pretty soon. Capcom's conference was a letdown for me. I don't know how you guys felt, but I was pretty disappointed in it.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch this one.
Well, because like, here's the thing. I know people are excited for Monster Hunter Stories. Not me, but people. And the last time we had major updates from Capcom, it was already about Monster Hunter Stories, and they were already like, the first Monster Hunter Rise crossover is going to be Monster Hunter Stories, and I got my complaining out then. And then they turned around and then they announced it again. Like, they just showed us more of that crossover. Still don't know when the first actual crossover material is for this game, because the first Monster Hunter Rise crossover is with Monster Hunter. So, like, I don't have much to get excited about. In Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, you get to play with 𝓸𝓲𝓷𝓷𝓰. Nintendo oftentimes winds up being the conference I'm most excited for. And I don't necessarily know if that's because I'm a huge Nintendo fan now, or because it's basically your last chance to get any good news if you've had a disappointing E3.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was feeling the latter, because Nintendo usually shows cool stuff, but I'm actually sad about this one because they didn't show any Pokemon stuff. So, I mean, they did show cool stuff, but not any Pokemon stuff, and they've had like nearly 2 extra years to prepare, right? And they kind of didn't give us anything, so I was actually kind of sad about Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm not always super excited for Nintendo, because they tend to announce like Wii U ports and shit. Or they talk about stuff like 4 years ago and don't give you any more news on it. So I wasn't super hyped for Nintendo, and I'm definitely not like a Nintendo apologist. I'll jump their ass for all kinds of shit. But I do think they come in and won this shitty ass E3, because E3 was already bad. Like, it was a bar so low as a tripping hazard, but I don't know. They came in and they actually they're like, okay, we got some games this time. Here, check this out. Bye. So
Yeah.
like,
Well,
I don't know. They did pretty good.
It was mixed because there was stuff to be excited about. Like, for example, I think starting with your Smash character reveal was probably good because I feel like there was at least one Nintendo Direct recently where there was like nothing good, nothing good, nothing good. And then they end with a Smash character reveal. And it's like, really, that's the best that you have. So opening with the Smash character reveal and being able to kind of lower my expectations essentially, because like that was a cute reveal, but do I care about it? No, not really. And then moving forward from there, it took a long time for them to say anything that I gave a shit about. I think for most people, it was just like, all right, tell us something, tell us something, tell us something, tell us something, tell us something. And then if you're a Mario Party fan, you started to get excited here. And if you're a Mario Party fan like me, you got mad because people who bought Super Mario Party have been like, that game's pretty good, but it doesn't have enough maps or like mini games at all, so DLC, right? And then they announced Mario Party Superstars, which looks exactly like a tremendous DLC drop for Super Mario Party, and then it isn't. It's just its own separate game that's a collection of old maps and old mini games that I will not be fucking putting my money on. Like, I'm honestly insulted by the existence of this thing. Like, I know there are people who are excited for it, but again, it's kind of like, if you have the tolerance for that kind of thing, if you have the tolerance for remakes and remasters, and if you like something so much that you do want to replay it remade and remastered, that's fine. But a lot of us are just fucking tired of that being the only thing these companies have to announce. And so this was kind of a great way to get my hopes up and then dash them quite expertly. Whereas I think a lot of people feel like you and I do, Chase, about Metroid Dread being surprisingly hype.
Yeah,
even I thought that was hype.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped about Metroid Dread. I haven't fully played through Super Metroid. Thinking about streaming that, but I don't know. Might not. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Metroid fan in the world, but this looks awesome.
I honestly loved the way that they presented it, because they were like, we don't have news about Metroid Prime 4, but, and then they just pop up and it just says Metroid 5. And I think a lot of us were trying to reconcile that in our brains for a second and be like, wait, you're not done with 4, so you're making 5? And then it's like, no. This is original series Metroid 5. And I just think that was such a beautiful move, because 2D games just plain take less time to develop. Like they just do, because like you are missing an entire axis of possibilities that you have to fuck with. So I know that this game has been in development since like the fucking Game Boy era, but I'm sure it was probably an excellent opportunity for them to be like, y'all, we need to have something Metroid out. What can we do? Sir, we could just finish Metroid 5. we could just fucking finish it. Like, is that on the table? And I think it looks great. I love Samus's look for this game. I think that the gameplay actually looks pretty smart. Like the way that creature is like hunting her down is really fucking cool.
Yeah, it looks really, really awesome. I'm pretty hyped for this.
And I also haven't played a Metroid game to completion. I've also considered playing Super Metroid and just never done it. But you know, maybe this will be where I start instead.
Well, this one looks good.
And then everybody in my house cringed at Just Dance.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe they're still coming out.
But they didn't cringe at Super Monkey Ball and Banana Man.
I think
that
Laz
actually
was
looks.
immediately.
That
I think Laz was immediately like, "You like Super Monkey Ball, don't you?" And I was like, "Sort of." Like I've never really played one. Like, looks cool, I guess. Laz's little sister was very excited for the new WarioWare title, so you know somebody is.
Yeah, I got at least one fan.
That game looks awesome. That's
Shin Megami Tensei, yeah, like this actually did look really interesting. I did at first think it was a like a Persona sequel, but isn't Persona and Shin Megami related in some way?
Yeah, Persona is a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah. So this is cool. It wasn't what I was expecting or hoping for, but it still looks pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I'll get it because
Yeah, this one something I would get. I agree.
yeah, I've been wanting to play a Shin Megami Tensei game for a long time, so I'm pretty hot for that one.
This one looks like it functions well.
Functions well, yes. I'm sure that jump is mapped to A, and that it. Oh man!
This one you can actually play.
Okay, so Chase tagged me whenever this happened, but it was just like, oh man, Advance Wars, and it's just like, I'm glad that they're acknowledging it exists, but all they're doing is remastering it. Like, and not only that, but you know what this reminds me of? I watched a video essayist a while back talk about how, like, this thing that's happening lately where people are using AI to add additional frames to animation and they think it looks good, but it doesn't. And then I see this trailer and that's exactly what they've done with like the animated profile images where like it looks like their face is made out of liquid ink. Like, so I'm only hype in regards that I'm glad that they are not letting this franchise die. But I do hope this means we'll get more of it and not just regurgitations of the games I've already played.
Yeah,
So I beat Advance Wars 1 and 2. I don't think I finished the DS one, but it was also good. So, no. Chase, are you going to get that Game & Watch Legend of Zelda?
Jesus, no, I can't believe. Like, I guess they're smart in the sense that they know collectors are going to go batshit for that thing. But, like, who the fuck else is going to buy this?
Yeah, I think this is, like, the loudest whining I heard from Laz all night, because she was just like, who wanted this? And I was like, somebody did, but... And then we finally had some acknowledgement that they've been working on Breath of the Wild too. But Chase, I'll let you lead because I know you're the biggest fan of Breath of the Wild probably in the call, but I have thoughts after that.
Yeah, I'm the biggest fan. I don't know. I'm glad like you said they finally showed something on it to where they're just like, hey, we are fucking working on this. Here's a whole last trailer. Have fun. But like me and Jesse's kind of already talked about this a little bit. It looks like an expansion pack for Breath of the Wild. It looks like they just added like Skyward Sword type stuff, like you're seeing right there, where he's like floating around the islands and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I guess this is cool and all, but like, I've never wanted a sequel to any Zelda game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want a new Zelda game. So like, yeah. I'm a little disappointed that they were like, oh man, Breath of the Wild was a fucking bop to most people. Let's just do that again. Like, I don't want more Breath of the Wild. Like, a lot of people were saying this is going to be like the Majora's Mask of Ocarina of Time, but at least those were still completely different games. Whereas this just looks like you're back in Breath of the Wild with some extra shit. So I don't know. I'm not super hyped for it. I definitely won't buy it day one. I might play it eventually, but I don't know. I didn't really enjoy Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I to play devil's advocate, people who compare it to Majora's Mask are completely in the right, because it's in the same way that Majora's Mask was built, just a different game built in the same engine as Ocarina of Time. Like, this is utilizing the same engine, and that's not the problem. The problem is that it doesn't seem to be expanding on it enough. Like, okay, I think that's where I agree with you. We don't really want a sequel. We want a new Zelda game. And so if they had done that, if they'd used the same engine to make a new game, I think I would have been happier. And even if they'd used the same engine to make a sequel that takes place somewhere else, I would have been okay. But when I saw that castle go up into the sky, I thought we were going somewhere. I didn't know we were going to stop 8 feet in the air. And it's just in the same fucking canyon. Like,
yeah, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, like I'm going to play it. I am going to play it because I wasn't as disappointed with Breath of the Wild as Chase was, but I'm going to play it.
Like I said, I'll play it eventually, but
yeah,
definitely not day one. It just looks like more of the same shit. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to go through and grade them like we normally do. Like the only thing I really know to say is this was the most disappointing E3 I've ever watched, and like I said, I kind of get it. It's coming right off of COVID. You could either take it as, oh, they couldn't do as much from home, or they had a whole lot of fucking time. Like, where was some more cool stuff at? So, I'll give them a break for now, I guess. But it's hard to pick a winner between Microsoft and like Nintendo, because they both showed roughly about the same amount of games I'm interested in. So I don't know. I guess one of those two won for me, if not tied.
Well, instead of picking a winning conference, then I want to hear what's the number one game you're most hyped for from everybody.
Just from this E3?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, no, probably Diablo 2. Like I'm unreasonably hyped for Diablo 2, and it comes out pretty soon. So, or no, Elden Ring, because we didn't really cover the.
We didn't go over it, but yeah, Elden Ring.
Yeah, we didn't go over the Summer's Game thing, but yeah, Elden Ring definitely, and then Diablo.
For me, it's probably gonna seem weird, but I have only wishlisted one game from this E3 showing, and it was Death Trash. Actually, I actually really want to play that really bad. But if after that, probably Elden Ring as well. Yeah, and yeah, one of those two.
I'm a tremendous basic bitch, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that my number one most hype thing is still Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty high on mine too.
I would put that high, especially since it's the multiplayer's free. I don't know how you care about that, but
yeah, well, that matters to me from a bro-op perspective, because we actually have temporarily retired community game nights because they're hard to coordinate. Mm-hmm. But with it being free to play, like you have it. You have Uno. Xbox comes with it. So like I think that will hopefully that will hopefully eliminate some barriers to entry for community game nights. Now, whether or not everybody can jam with community game night being Halo, I don't really care. If you don't like Halo, you don't like me.
I do agree with Chase, though. I mean, I'm just going to double down on it and say you had no reason for this E3 showcase to be dog ass, because like you had an extra year, Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like they should be giving excuses out for it, right? I mean, they obviously could have done more. And don't tell me that you can't make games working at home because fucking Squeenix can put out a banger, chaos sitting in their living rooms, right? So, I just don't believe in giving the excuses for them. They're just seeing how little they can give and get away with it, like we were saying in the beginning of the podcast.
Those voice lines of his were definitely written in someone's fucking living room.
And recorded the same day.
And recorded, yes.
Hold on. Matt Fred in chat says, I'm just over here waiting on Snake 2. And I got Snake 2 for you right here. Hold on. This is actually something I've been following for a while now. This is Temple of Snake.
What the fuck?
Revolutionary graphics here, actually.
What's funny is this is a reveal trailer. They've put out more since then that's a little bit more interesting. But
oh my god.
It's just like Snake puzzle adventure. And you get longer as you eat stuff.
Wow. Why wasn't this at E3?
Snake 2, let's go.
Unironically kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not joking. Like, why wasn't this at E3?
So anyway, Snake 2, game of the year all years.
Fuck yeah, dude. Can't wait to play Snake 2.
Anyway, thanks so much for listening to clubfradio.wave, as hosted by Super64, who can never remember the name of the podcast nor be bothered to care.
Hey, I remember it. I just was casual this time. You're like, no, don't do that.
You're casual.
Shit, you're a casual.
Shit, don't even fucking get me started. Collin's casual.
Shit, better get my monkey ball.
Yeah, you better get his monkey ball.